Welcome back to Triple Threat Wrestling. This is the SmackDown Highlights Show. If this is your first time with us, please stop what you're doing. Hit that like and subscribe button, as well as hit that notification bell so you can get reminded each and every time we drop new content. We are in the thick of Royal Rumble season. It's hours away at this point, which means we are in the midst of WrestleMania season. So the content is going to be nonstop, and we're going to be bringing it to you as often as we can with the real unfiltered takes, not the watered down, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. It's none of that fake crap that you get from some of the other creators, but shout out to them if that's what they want to do. But our goal is to bring you the raw and the uncut. So take a moment and like and subscribe and be blessed by the content we bring you over the next several months. All right, so let's get into this episode of WWE SmackDown, which was brought to us from our good friends in Saudi Arabia. Yep, this week they gave us the first ever event inside this stadium this arena that they built specifically for this event. They should call it Royal Rumble Stadium or Royal Rumble Arena, but I believe it's called Riyadh Season Arena or something of that nature. So SmackDown came on very early this afternoon. I believe it was on at 11 a.m. I used my handy VPN to get access to it, so I was able to get through it earlier in the day and deliver this content for you a little bit earlier. Anyway, the show kicked off with Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes came down to the ring. He got a nice ovation, but he immediately starts talking about how he intends on winning the Royal Rumble for the third time. And the Saudi Arabia crowd was not feeling it at all. He got some boos. It was not like one or two people. It was a pretty unanimous boo, and even some no, 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 no. Definitely not what we needed. Thankfully, he was interrupted by my guy Randall Keith Orton, who says, "Hey, you're not the only one that's won a couple Royal Rumbles. I have two. We don't need a Randy Orton Royal Rumble win, but I don't think anybody thinks we're gonna get that anyway." But it was nice to see a heated exchange between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. We really haven't gotten a heat between these two since Cody's return in what, 2022, I believe he returned. We really haven't gotten the heat or the rivalry we thought we would get from these two. And I mean, I think they had a match maybe a year and a half ago. I believe it was like a King of the Ring qualifying match or a King of the Ring match on a PLE. It was a decent match, but it wasn't like there wasn't a lot of heat or a lot of drama behind it. There's no story behind it. Not the story that they could tell with the history that these two had. But this time it was like, hey, we're friends, we're brothers, but if I get the opportunity, I'm gonna throw your ass over that top rope and not think twice about it. We got that type of promo. Then we get the Yeet Man. Yep, Jey Uso's music hits and he comes on down. Last time we saw Jey Uso was on Monday Night Raw. He was faced off against Akira Tozawa and Otis ahead of their tag team match that they're going to have at some point once Jimmy returns. But he comes down. Now, mind you, we just got Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton in a heated exchange about the Royal Rumble. Here comes the Yeet Man, and guess what he's doing? He's yeeting. Yep, he's yeeting. And instead of immediately getting down, not eating anymore, and getting in there and throwing his claim to what's going to happen tomorrow, he decides to do the running back. So he runs it back and eats a little more. By this time, he's gassed, as you can assume. He's winded, and he gives kind of a typical Jey Uso promo. Essentially, he's saying that he's going to win he's going to win the Royal Rumble again. He won it last year. let me preface it by saying I'm an Uso guy. I am a Roman Reigns guy. The whole family. I'm a Fatu family and a Wahi family guy. Like that family. When you talk about wrestling's royal family, shout out to the Rhodes. Shout out to the Hart family. The Samoan dynasty is the one I really fool with like that. But if there's one thing we need less than a Cody Rhodes Royal Rumble win, is a Jey Uso Royal Rumble win. And of course, they're not going to do that. But, him just coming out there and having to say that, cool. Next, we get Sami Zayn, who comes out next and he's saying, hey, I'm looking at, three of the best guys in the business. I just want to let you guys know that while you guys are in the Royal Rumble, I'll be fighting for the World Wrestling Federation, the World Heavyweight Championship against Drew McIntyre, and I'm going to win that. So when one of you guys wins the Rumble, you're going to have to see me at WrestleMania because I'm going to win that championship. Um, Spoiler alert: Sami Zayn is not going to win that championship tomorrow, but it's a good thought. It's a very good thought. But he's not going to walk out of Saudi Arabia with the championship. If for some reason they do that, he still ain't walking into Mania with it. Somebody's going to get that off of him. But they're not going to shorten Drew's title reign for Sami Zayn. I think at this point they are planning on having Drew McIntyre walk into Mania with the belt, and I think that's a great decision. So as these guys are talking, all of a sudden we hear an oracle. Paul Heyman then begins talking about, I don't see a vision and this and that. And now the writing's on the wall why these four guys are out there. And now they're facing off against these four guys in Austin Theory, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Logan Paul. Nick Aldis doesn't even waste our time. He comes out there and says, hey, the writing's on the wall. We know why what this is leading to. This is your main event for tonight. It's going to be the Vision versus Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, and Randy Orton. All right, next we had the US Open Championship match. Who's going to face Melo this week? Now, last week, you remember it was Ilya Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes, with The Miz interfering, costing Ilya Dragunov the match. For some reason, I thought it was going to lead to maybe him doing the challenge this week, but they had other plans. So we get Rey Fenix this week. And it did not land the way it needed to land. No one really wanted to see it. It's baby first face versus baby face. Just, it's just going to be one of those matches that, and this is just become a segment on the show. That's all it is. It's you cut your opening promo, and then the next segment, it just seems like it's always going to be the US Championship Open Challenge until somebody like a Trick Williams ends up getting it and adds a little prestige beyond a US Championship title Open Challenge each and every week. I'm gonna be honest. I've said it before. I think it's ran its course. And I think when you bring out somebody like a Rey Fenix, it further cements that the fact that this thing is running its course. Um, I don't think Carmelo Hayes should have even kept it going. I think somebody like him, I think this is where you could have started showing his personality, showing his mic skills, and really building feuds within his title reign to, solidify him as a upper mid card star, and then hopefully launch him to bigger and better things. This match is what it was. I'm not a play by play guy that's going to give you, move by move what happened, but you know, Melo won. We knew he was going to win. This was not the match that he should have gotten. But again, it's filler. It's just, hey, this is segment 2. What are we going to do? Rey Fenix isn't doing anything. Let's throw him out there. These two guys can go out there and have a great match. And Was it a good match? Absolutely, it was a good match. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to give you the move by move, play by play, but I know a good match when I see it, and they're going to have a good match. But at the end of the day, like, what makes wrestling good is when you have those good stories going in. And with this, the story is just that this guy is going to uh, perform every single week until somebody beats him, and that's just the way it is. So, Ray Phoenix, notable. We got a spoiler essentially that showed that Braun Breaker was supposed to be the number one entry into the Royal Rumble match tomorrow, but I don't know. That graphic leaked on the screen. I don't know if WWE is going to really worry about it, because I'm sure in the actual telecast that they have that goes out tonight, I'm sure it's going to be edited out and everything. But the spoilers have leaked online and everything, so they're probably going to change that up, and he probably won't be the number one entrant. But I don't know why Adam Pearce didn't just say that on Monday Night Raw. Maybe that was going to be some sort of storyline plot that we got tomorrow during the Royal Rumble. That because he was so kind of like just going with the flow with the vision and giving them everything they wanted, and then maybe tomorrow that was going to happen. We'll see. We'll see if they stick to their guns. I'm sure Triple H is pissed about that. Whoever the graphics person was, I'm sure got an earful, if not the next ticket back to America from Saudi Arabia. But that happened. So we got Nick Aldis talking to Damian Priest, and he's basically telling Damian Priest, hey, I got you a spot in the Royal Rumble. The day before, if you keep your ear to the streets, Pat McAfee on his show got a call from Brock Lesnar, who also has a spot in the Royal Rumble. Monday on Raw, Finn asked to be in the Royal Rumble, or declared to be in the Royal Rumble, and was told, yeah, man, we're out of spots. After just a couple segments before that, we we got Javon Evans saying that he was in the Royal Rumble match. So everybody got a spot except for Finn. It's funny when you have these heel characters. Sometimes they're wrong so much that it's like they deserve to be a heel. They're right because and in this case, Finn Balor deserves to be a heel. Like he's getting wronged all over the place on this thing, but whatever. You can probably say, well, Brock Lesnar was always going to be in it, sure, but Javon Evans, come on, man. Like, not knocking him. He just showed up on Monday Night Raw, just got called up. He gets a spot. But the guy that became the first Universal Champion and just wrestled CM Punk in Ireland doesn't get a spot. Make it make sense. So next we get a promo. Charlotte and Alexa both come out, and they basically talk about it. It's honestly the exact same segment that the men had at the beginning of the show, promoting the Royal Rumble for the men. This is the same thing for the women. Charlotte is basically saying, oh, I'm going to win the Rumble. And then Alexa saying she's going to win the Rumble. The crowd's not feeling that, Charlotte saying she's going to win the Rumble because she was not the one that should have won the Rumble last year. She's not going to win it this year, guys, but just putting it out there, put a bad taste in people's mouth. The Judgment Day ladies come out, Liv, Raquel, and Roxanne, they come out and they talk about how they're going to win the match and this, that, and the third. This turns into a tag team match, of course. It ends up being Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez versus Charlotte and Alexa. This match was what it was. This is kind of, to me, where the show kind of started going downhill. The ending of the match was cool as Charlotte and Alexa get the win after Raquel Rodriguez interferes, but then Stephanie Vicaire comes and fends her off, and that's what helps the baby faces go over here. So Shawn and Alexa go over in that match. Now, this is where the show really started dragging to me. We had Axiom versus Johnny Gargano. Wake me up when this shit is over. Like, wake me up when this shit is over. I'm assuming Axiom won, but I don't know. And I really don't give a shit. I really don't give a shit because I probably went and took a shit during this match. That I did not give a flying fuck about this match. I'm sure it was great in-ring work. I'm sure, but who cares? This was probably supposed to be Fraxium versus DIY, which would have been slightly more interesting. But this is where, if this was a 2-hour show, this wouldn't make the cut. And rightfully so. AJ Styles comes out ahead of his match tomorrow with Gunther. Career threatening match. He's basically saying, hey, when I beat Gunther tomorrow, that's going to kick off the AJ Styles retirement tour. You're going to see me run matches back with some of the greats. You're going to see me and Randy Orton, CM Punk, and, saying all that. Gunther then comes out and says, you're lying to the people. Your career is over tomorrow. I'm going to make sure of it. You're going to tap out. AJ Styles says, if I remember correctly, last time you were in the ring, we were in the ring, you were the one that tapped out. You the one that tapped out like a little bitch. That gets Gunther riled up. He runs down to the ring. They have a little exchange. I'm looking forward to the match. I know they're going to deliver. I don't know if I'm ready to see AJ Styles hang it up, man. Like it feels kind of abrupt. But if I'm honest, I think that's where we're going. You have Gunther who retired. The mistake with Gunther last year was having him tap out to Jey Uso at WrestleMania. That was stupid as shit. It was absolutely the right move to have him, defeated. But it should have been Jey Uso kind of slipping on a banana peel and winning that match, not him tapping out. It should have felt like a fluke. But when you tap somebody out, that's kind of that's like a solid win. That solidifies you. Like you made a man that doesn't lose very often. You not only did you beat him, but you made him tap out. That should be special. That was the mistake. He ends up having great matches. The rest, of course, he gets the title back eventually off of Jey Uso. Has the great match with CM Punk at SummerSlam. He retired Goldberg, then retired John Cena just a little over a month ago. He retired John Cena. So it really doesn't make sense for him not to beat AJ Styles. And I can't see it going any other way. I could be totally wrong here, but it makes no sense for Gunther to lose. And I just can't see it. And I think that AJ Styles is going to end his WWE career tomorrow night. And because I believe his contract is up February 1st. So I think they're probably just not going to renegotiate the contract. And he's going to go to TNA and New Japan and finish his career over there, which, if you think about it, is really the way a AJ Styles farewell tour should probably go, because he didn't build his legacy necessarily in WWE. It definitely added to his legacy, but his legacy is in Ring of Honor, in New Japan, in TNA. Now, the last 10 years of AJ Styles has mostly been great. I mean, he had that first couple of years he was in was awesome. I mean, he debuted at the Rumble, and it was, he cooked for a little bit. And when they did that hard brand split, when he was kind of the face of SmackDown, SmackDown Live was really good at that time. So it does make sense for him to go and finish his career having matches with, you know, people that and in companies that have really built him up to be who he became when he was in WWE. So I think that's what's going to happen. So we'll see. So then we had The Miz versus Ilya Dragunov. Again, if this is a 2-hour show, this is a match that doesn't make the cut. As much as I like seeing them have different stars featured, this was a match that we just did not need. I think when you feature people, you build a story, and this does kind of have a story in it. He Miz cost Ilya the U.S. title last week, and this and that. So this was Ilya Dragunov's, comeback story or whatever. Whatever. Ilya Dragunov goes over. Both men are going to be in the Rumble tomorrow. Fun fact: they said this is going to be Miz's 17th Royal Rumble appearance. That is crazy. Shout out to the Miz, man. He's had some staying power, and he's done some good stuff in WWE. So shout out to him for having the second most Rumble appearances after tomorrow. Then we got the main event. The main event was, of course, the Vision versus Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, and Randy Orton. Now, when you have a 8-man tag team match, these matches are always going to be fun. So it was a fun match. I mean, it's always going to be so much action. It's hard to keep up with. The refs, can't keep these guys under control. They should have 2 referees at minimum in matches with this many guys, to just bring some form of sanity to the match, because they do get out of control and the refs just look like idiots sometimes. Um, this match, I'm gonna be honest, I thought Jey Uso was gonna take the pin here. I thought that was why they threw him in this, but it made sense in the end. Drew McIntyre, the match ends in disqualification or no contest or whatever you want to have after Drew McIntyre comes in and wrecks shop on Sami Zayn ahead of their match at the Royal Rumble. Then we get Jacob Fatu's music comes on, who in reality probably should have been in this main event over Jey Uso, but again, to each his own. This made a cool spot. They're continuing to tease this triple threat match between Drew, Jacob, and Cody. Which, if this is going to be a Mania match, I don't understand how they get there, because if who I think is going to win the Royal Rumble wins the Royal Rumble, I just don't see him. I don't see Roman picking Punk, but I guess he has to, because otherwise you basically shit on the finish of the Survivor Series, because the whole thing with the Survivor Series was him facing off with Punk and Cody. So you kind of don't do that story justice if Roman doesn't go after Punk. But why would he? I don't know. So we'll see. But they definitely were teasing that match with Jacob, Drew, and Cody again. So we're getting that at some point. I could definitely see that being the Mania Night 1 closer. And I think it'll be a good match. So we'll see what happens there. Um, as all the chaos is going on, Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes both reach for the World Heavyweight Championship, and they're both grabbing either side of it. And then Braun Breaker comes in and does a double spear on them to close out the show. And that is how we finished Friday Night SmackDown from Saudi Arabia. So, this episode was kind of like, okay, we're finally, we're in Saudi Arabia. They paid for this show, so I guess we can build it tonight, because they haven't done anything. This was the most that they've like really built to this show. I wouldn't call it a go home show as much as it was a oh shit, the Rumble's tomorrow show. And again, I like I said earlier, if this was a 2-hour show, I think this would have been a passable episode of SmackDown. But being 3 hours, you had filler in there that just made the show drag and made the show not as exciting. But I am looking very much forward to the Royal Rumble. It is my personal favorite event of the year. And they may have not given a shit about building up to it. They may not give a shit about it, but I still care. And I'm looking forward to it tomorrow. So um, we'll be back with the Royal Rumble recap. So be sure to check that out. And if you made it this far and you have not smashed and that like and subscribe button, what are you doing? Do that right now and hit the notification bell. Finally, if you want merch like this head of the table uh hoodie, it's a hoodie actually. It's a sleeveless hoodie. You want merch like this on www.shop.com? All you gotta do is click our affiliate links down below, and instead of just the money just going to WWE, you get to support us and help us make great content for you and keep great content coming for you. And remember, we got a lot of stuff coming for you guys the next several months. So get locked in with us, and we'll catch you next time.